Hi, folks. Welcome once again to Talk Formula One. Very exciting weekend we had. Lots of talking points. But before we jump into that, let me welcome OBJ. OBJ.
Hi, welcome, folks. Glad to have you with us. Exciting weekend. I mean, you just couldn't say it more.
Well, I guess we're not going to. Well, as much as I didn't want to waste time with qualies, since it's a new format, I guess we need to give it a quick one over before we jump into the race aspect. So,
Absolutely.
what did you think about the new format?
Well, honestly, I don't know what to think. I don't know who's on pole. Is it Lewis Hamilton or is it Verstappen? That's the big question for me. Other than that, I think it's an exciting way of doing quali. We're getting pretty much a quali, a second quali, and the main race. And it gives everybody opportunity, especially the people that qualify P2, to have a crack at it, which Verstappen clearly did. So yeah, excited.
Well, in my opinion, I think all it really does is give you the opportunity to see two race starts in one race weekend, because I didn't think much changed in the sprint format, but hey, time will tell.
Time will tell. You're absolutely correct in saying that. I mean, if you look at the tactical withdrawal of Perez by the Red Bull, because from what I understand, once you do your sprint, you cannot change the car setup. So they tactically took Perez out so that they can change the car setup for the race. So people will take advantage of that. That's just my take on that.
Oh well. Once you're within the rules, nothing to stop you from using the rules to benefit. But hey,
absolutely. So yeah, so we dive straight into the into the race. Do we start off by saying a big congratulations to Lewis Hamilton, Silverstone, eighth win, it's a big number eight. Or do we go to the start of the race before we go to the end of the race?
Well, I know nothing is going to make me stop you from doing that. You wear Lewis on your sleeve, but hey,
well, listen, Billy, I
that.
think that's an unfair statement because I'm wearing a neutral shirt today, deliberately so, so that way, you won't label me as a diehard, which I am.
Well, I think you're being tactical there. You want to be able to throw the kitchen sink at whoever is against Lewis. So hey. But
yeah, over to you, Billy.
Yeah. Seriously speaking, what did you think about the collision between Max and Hamilton?
God, honestly, I wish you were not going to ask me that question. Do you want the long or the short answer? I'll just go for the short answer. It's a racing incident. If I was going to go for the long answer, I'll put the blame on Verstappen. End of story. Very long answer.
Well, I guess we won't waste too much time saying what happened, what didn't happen, because really and truly, it's the aftermath that is a bit of a shambles for me. I mean, what's this idea of Red Bull now saying they're going to take legal action and all whatnot? That's just childish. That's
well, I wish in fact, you know what? I'll be really pleased if Mr. Horner would do that, because if he goes down that route, what's going to happen is that it's going to open everything up to scrutiny. And what I mean by scrutiny is this: people will begin, which has already actually started. A lot of people are coming out online now to say at best it's a racing incident, or some might even say, well, hang on, perhaps Verstappen need to chill out. He's too aggressive. He expects people to back down for him. Sometimes who blinks first? Sometimes he needs to blink. I don't know if you saw turn 6 leading up to that unfortunate incident. He did exactly the same thing. He actually caught right across Lewis Hamilton, bumped his front wheel. Lewis had to back off to just give him space. They could have taken themselves out even before they got to turn 9. I mean, over to you, Dele. I'm pretty upset about it, as you can see, but there you go.
Well, I don't know if I should encourage you by saying this, but, I think Horner is actually being very hypocritical here. Bearing in mind, I've gathered information to the effect that, and would you believe it, a Red Bull was involved in the overtaking. Almost identical situation at the same corner in 2014 when
absolutely
Vettel actually overtook Alonso. So if it's not a corner for overtaking, I don't know what it is. But yeah. I guess we'll give Horner some leeway. When it goes, we'll just have him down as the spoiled brat who throws his toys out of the pram when it doesn't go for him. But
and you're absolutely right. I think he has his hands on the constructor's trophy. I could just see him licking his lips, top lip first, and then he starts to lick his bottom lip, saying, right, constructors, where's the money? And he's seeing that grip, begin to slip. And it will slip from him. I don't think he's going to get it. There's no corner in any circuit that is off limits to overtaking, inside or the outside. So what is he talking about? In the same race, Lewis Hamilton did the same move on Leclerc to get ahead of Leclerc. Leclerc knew he left the window wide open. Lewis was there. The sensible thing for him to do is not to crowd Lewis into the wall. I don't know if you heard of, Alonso, and an all-time, Formula One great. An interesting comment coming from him was that, listen, Lewis was already committed. Do you expect him to disappear? That was where Alonso left it. It was in Verstappen's gift. Lewis's car was more than half the length in that space. He was turning into the corner, so he should be able to see Lewis. He should have backed off, but knowing Verstappen, he doesn't do that. So, yeah.
Well, in conclusion of that, all I can say is I'm glad that he's escaped a 180, 190 mile collision unscathed. That's something to be happy about.
I think we need to celebrate that. Yeah, we do.
I guess going forward, if he learns lessons, he will realize that he needs to, tone it down on the aggression. We like a lot of, wheel racing, but I think Max needs to learn to stick his elbows in a bit more, and just let the flow go. But let's look at other. Who would you say was your driver for the day? I know I'm asking you an obvious, but who would you say was your driver for the day?
Well, for me, I'm going to say Lewis. I was very surprised when he went to Leclerc. I think it's good for Ferrari to be back on pole, because a few episodes, you can actually criticize Ferrari. I'm sure you remember that clearly, and I'm glad they haven't sent some thugs, to come look for you and on behalf of the Ferrari fans that
It would surprise you to know I actually have Italian blood.
Oh, you do? Yeah. Well, same here. Same here, actually. So we're cousins. That makes us cousins. I mean, I think Lewis Hamilton gave me 10-second penalty, and he finished 7 seconds ahead of Bottas in arguably the same car, despite having a 10 second penalty. And look at the overtakes. It was not an easy win, I think. Qualifying, he became speed king by being the fastest guy around, the circuit, in the history of that circuit. He delivered a win. Some would say it's a controversial win. I would say it's not a controversial win. Um, yeah, Verstappen's elbows perhaps, shouldn't go up as far as they tend to. So yeah, it will be my driver of the day. They deserve, and yeah, not to take the shine off Leclerc. He put in a good show, and we have to recognize that as well.
Um, I'm just going to keep neutral here. I believe Leclerc actually, given what the Ferrari has been capable of in recent times, I believe that was a sterling drive.
It was
kind of like heartbreaking that he was not able to hold out against a rampant and very rapid
Lewis Hamilton. Determined Lewis Hamilton.
But yeah, that actually does bode well for the Ferraris. Having said that, I'm not sure of if we're getting excited. I mean, their team principal was very quick to say at the end of the race that we shouldn't just get accustomed to Ferraris being on the podium just yet, but it's progress in the right direction.
It is progress in the right direction.
Given their past pedigree. So yeah,
it's good for the sport. That's what I say, because F1 is Ferrari and Ferrari is F1. So we're glad to have him back. Yeah.
The McLarens didn't do too badly themselves. One way or the other, Lando robbed of a podium, would you say?
I think so. I'm not quite sure what he's done to the British press. He's not getting the airtime I think he deserves. The guy's an absolute brilliant drive. Who do we have sitting in the other car? Is it that man that drinks out of the shoe? What was his name again? That's
Ricardo.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't be taking a drink from his shoes, not after he's been sweating in it. And but I mean, you have to benchmark him to Ricardo, and that's always the way. So when I compare Lewis, I compare him to Bottas because they are in roughly an identical car, and I see the gaps between them. When you think of Lando and Ricardo and how Lando is finishing, by contrast to Ricardo, who is a very good driver, it's got to be hats off, Billy. You just have to.
Yeah, well, I guess Ricardo fans will say that he's just gotten into the car this season, so but I do see what you say, and my hat is also off to Lando. He's been putting in, there's actually consistency in what he's doing. So yeah, he's one to look out for.
A lot of consistency. And sorry, I'm just going to take you right back to this crash between Lewis and I hear Lewis has been getting a lot of stick, and there's been some kind of very nasty post on social media that Mercedes reacted to. Now, what I wasn't sure about is, I really don't know where to place it, because I couldn't remember, primates taking part in these sports. And I remember clearly in my mind when George Russell took Bottas off. It was a big shunt for Bottas. He was totally winded. He came out of the car. In fact, he couldn't even stand up. And George Russell went and gave him a slap on the head. Now, I didn't see these haters on social media, I'm having to ask a few questions. I don't know if you can recollect this Bottas and George Russell incidents
well, OBJ, I'm going to jump in and say to you that it's to be expected. Not that it's right, but it's to be expected. Unfortunately, Sir Hamilton has been brave enough to use his pedestal within the sports to, fight for equality and, campaign against, injustices in society. And that definitely irritates a lot of people, I must say.
Credit to him.
Hats off to Sir Lewis. But it's very sad. I mean, you don't have to look too far. England's loss in the Euros, and you saw the ugliness that surfaced there. So, I mean, come on, OBJ, why are you surprised?
Well, I guess not. I think why I perhaps was slightly surprised was I think like Toto said, Mercedes, that the social media companies need to do more. And I just think that this issue is a lot wider than what we portray to be, because I'm fairly confident that if some terrorists were sending messages on social media to themselves about what they will be doing, they will get there within a couple of days, regardless of VPN or no VPN. So whoever's behind all of this, if there's enough will they should be behind bars, or they should be feeling the full weight of the law. Because I am 100% certain that if terrorists were using social media to pass messages to themselves, they will catch them all within a week maximum. So that's my take on it. The right people know what to do, they're just not doing it. So yeah, enough of that. I think, listen, we're fast running out of time, so I think you need to kind of round up.
Yeah, so I guess in rounding up, I will say Silverstone, contrary to my expectation, turned out to be a very exciting race. I wasn't sure of what Mercedes were going to bring to the party, but my goodness, they came to the party. And some party we ended up having. I guess the championship race is back on, and that's good to see. That's very good to see. Any which way you look at it, or whoever you support, it's good that there's a title race back on, and a full-fledged title race at that. So I guess we can look forward to Hungary in a week and a bit's time. Hopefully, the fireworks will continue.
Absolutely. It's bound to be explosive. And again, a big thank you to both Mercedes and Red Bull for making Silverstone an exciting race for we the fans. We're thankful and we're grateful that Max is fine. There's nothing wrong with him. Let the show carry on. I'll pass it over to Dilly now for the final roundup, and until next time from me, take care.
Yeah, folks. So thanks for tuning in. Keep it locked here at Talk Formula One. Let's talk about Formula One for what it is. Look forward to seeing you next episode. In the time being, please feel free to put comments on our channel. Let's talk Formula One. Till then, it's bye from me, Dilly.